Hi, my name is Noma and welcome to episode 14 of my knitting podcast. As always, I'll start off with what I'm wearing, the stuff that I've launched recently, and of course what I'm working on and my recently finished objects. So let's get started. This is the turtle pullover that I'm wearing right now, and I started working on it late last year during the December holidays. The interesting thing about this is that I knit this in the middle of a heat wave. It was probably the hottest it's ever been. I don't remember any time ever being hotter than this past summer, but it was very, very hot when I was knitting this. It's a worsted weight yarn that I was using, and it's Pearl Soho Plenty. The colors I used were night blue and heirloom. So I've still got some Pearl Soho yarn here for another project. This is the Plenty yarn, so it's very plush and it's a very comfortable, super soft and quick to knit yarn. It's a worsted weight yarn, and I knit this, I think I was using 5.5 millimeters, and it worked out really fast. And seeing that it's in garter stitch, that was a quick project, but it was very, very hot. So first of all, I think I'd like to mention that I live in Johannesburg, South Africa, and right now we are in winter. Winter just started, so we're in the southern hemisphere, and I'm finally putting this to good use. So when I'm talking about my projects, it might sound a bit confusing because I usually knit for a future season. I work with the northern hemisphere seasons because most of the people that knit my patterns are in the northern hemisphere, so I work with that season. So currently I'm working on summer designs, and I'll be working on the winter ones when it's getting into spring on our side. So I think for us on the side, it works to an advantage when you get to, because most of the patterns that get launched, whether it's Ravelry or other platforms, it's usually the northern hemisphere season. So we get to knit the stuff before the season starts, and when it starts, we've got our entire wardrobe ready. So this pullover was launched at the beginning of the year, and it's been a current favorite lately, and it's now peeling a little bit because I've been wearing it a lot. So it's worked from the top down with some short rows here on the shoulders for some neck shaping, and it's got a crew neck and a scatter stitch throughout. I'll put in some photos so you can see how it looks right to the bottom. And my favorite feature on this pattern is the straight sleeves. So they're not exactly balloon sleeves because I didn't add too many stitches. It was just a regular straight sleeve with a drastic decrease right at the cuff and a very long cuff for some extra warmth and comfort. I love long cuffs. They give this warm and cozy look to a garment. So I did them like this for that purpose. And the neck is double folded. And I normally like my necklines a bit lower. I don't like stuff right up on my neck. So I just did maybe one band before doing the neck shaping. So yeah, that's the turtle pullover. It's available on Ravelry and Etsy, so you can find it on those two platforms. So now the next items I want to show you are projects that I did with some Brooklyn Tweed yarn. So late last year I was approached by Brooklyn Tweed to design with their newest yarn, Imbue Sport. So it hadn't launched yet, so it was a secret project for a while, and I got yarn for two projects. The one was Imbue Worsted and Imbue Sport. So I did two designs that look quite similar, that use the same stitch pattern, but I just wanted to interpret the two patterns almost in the same way, even when I was using different weight yarns. So I did these two patterns called Liruo. So here is the yarn. This is the Imbue Sport. It's a Brooklyn Tweed yarn, and this is the other skein that I've got for the yarn. This one is in the color crepe, and the one that I used is Warbler. So it's a gold yarn, hence the name Liruo. So I named these two patterns Liruo because Liruo in South Africa, it means wealth, and because of the gold colors, I figured the name would come in handy. Okay, so naming patterns is the most difficult thing I ever have to do in the designing process. So sometimes you just have to work with some really weird names, and sometimes we just have to find connections, whether with the colors or with the inspiration and the concept of the pattern. Okay, so I'll show you the first one. This one has been worn too much. It's probably peeling a bit, and I need to fix that. So this is the Leroy pullover. I knit this with the Imbue sport yarn. It's a very simple top, and it's got a V-neck, drop shoulders, straight sleeves. So the sleeves are worked straight right up to the end, and an I-cord edge right at the top. So the edging at the bottom is just, since it's 2x2 ribbing, I just bound off at the edge. I used as the stretchy bind off method. It's outlined in the pattern, so it's very stretchy. It's not a tubular bind off because it kind of felt bulky, and I just wanted it to be very simple at the bottom, so I bound it off like this. It's just very simple. And what else do I want to say? Oh, at the back, I started off with the stitches for the back neck, and then I increased along those lines here just to give the back some interesting look. Okay, let me show you that. I don't know if that was showing properly there. So this is the first pattern that I did with the Imbue sport yarn, and then the second one that I knit is the Leroy cardigan. So this one is a bit different because, well, of course the yarn is thicker and less drapey, and I used the raglan construction here for the sleeves. As you can see, this is how it looks, and then the front is open. So for this project, I hadn't initially planned to knit a garment, but then I decided to do that at the last moment, and I had 12 skeins to do this, and I used about 11 and a half. So I had to really work with what I had and make sure. So that's why I made it cropped and open at the front. It was kind of inspired by the Kanyesa cardigan that I did some years back. I think that was 2019. So I did it like this. It's worked also from the top down, and it's got a double knitted button band, which is totally open. There are no buttonholes, but this can easily be modified if you prefer buttons. And then the sleeves are tapered, unlike the ones for the Leroy top. These ones are tapered all the way to the end. And here I kind of played around with the ribbing, and you'll see this in the pattern, of course. I just wanted the ribbing to be continuous, because mostly when you just have maybe 2 purl stitches here, at some point you have too many purl stitches or too many knit stitches. So I wanted the ribbing to be continuous, so that you won't really at any given point you're just doing a knit 2 purl 2. There isn't any break because of the decreases. So that's in the pattern. I don't think you'll have any problems. And what I can say about the yarn, since I've worked with both, is they're both great to work with, and I really love the colors, which was the reason why I chose to do a very simple stitch pattern that was going to show the colors beautifully. Of course, you can work cables with the yarn and other more complicated stitches, but for this one I was just inspired to do a very simple pattern, so that when I'm wearing the garments with whatever, it's just going to pop and it's going to shine. So as you can see with this color, it's got a bit of some red and some very bright pops of lime green. So I don't know whether you can see that. So it's quite an interesting color, and I loved working with it. So I think my favorite part about this yarn is it's very soft and it's very drapey, but it's still got that heathered rustic look, which in most cases when you get the heathered look, it's usually a bit on the scratchy side and it doesn't drape so easily. But somehow with this Imbue sport yarn, you get all of that. The worsted weight yarn, of course, isn't drapey because it's a heavier yarn, but it's also got some great stitch definition that will do very well with cables and other textured stitches if you want to do some knit and purl textured patterns, it will work very well. The only thing that I wish was different with the yarn is the color options that are there. Of course, I'm so into neutrals, and most of the colors are much richer than what I would go for, but still I think they are great, and they could possibly increase the color range as time goes on, because this is a new yarn. It was launched on the 10th of April, so there's still room. This is a very neutral color, and I think they've got a mid gray color. I think it's called ash, and there's some navy blue, I think, but I would really, of course, love to see more lighter colors like browns or whatever. But so far I'm really happy with the colors that I got and worked with, and I'm going to design something with these 2 remaining colors. I think maybe a hat, I'll see, but I'll really be designing something with these colors, and it was a joy to work with that yarn. So these 2 patterns are also available on Ravelry and Etsy, and I'll include the links in the description box below. And then the last one that I launched not so long ago, it was this pair of socks. So I was getting into some serious summer knitting here with some pink, blue and green. So as you can see, I enjoyed working with this. It was so much fun. I think I've shared so much about it on Instagram. So this is a very simple textured stitch that I used for this pattern, and I also did a short row heel. So I know most knitters prefer a heel flap and gusset, and I like it too. I like wearing it and I love the look of it, but one of the biggest challenges that I have is that my socks always tear at this point at the heel. They never get torn anywhere else. I've never had my socks tearing at the toe or at the bottom of the foot. It's always at the heel, and over time I've realized that it's much easier to mend a short row heel, because all I have to do is to just remove the section and pick out the stitches, and then re-pick all the stitches here and do an afterthought heel, and it works just fine. So that's why I normally gravitate towards this heel, because of that. And I also like adding, particularly when I'm adding pops of color like this, I also prefer this type of heel, because it's just this clean edging. With the heel flap and gusset, it kind of looks awkward when you add that little strap of color. So mostly when I'm doing that construction, I only do contrast colors on the cuff and on the toe, but not the heel. So this time around I just wanted to add 3 colors, and this was the most perfect option to go for. And it also works very well with color work or slip stitches. It just works so well when you do this type of heel compared to the heel flap, because particularly with what's that construction, with slip stitches, when I'm going to be striping at the bottom and continuing with the slip stitch pattern, I don't like having some longer sections of the stripes with the heel flap as I'm doing the decreases. So I normally prefer this type of heel, and fortunately for me, it works well, it fits well, and it's comfortable. So I know it doesn't work well for everybody, but I really love this heel. You'll notice that most of my patterns use this type of heel more than the heel flap and gusset. So the socks are now available as well on Ravelry and Etsy, and these are the Tintswalo socks, and the name Tintswalo means joy. So they gave me so much joy to work on. The bright color and all the summery feeling that you could think of was put in these socks. I love the pink. Okay, the weirdest thing is I've always thought that I don't like pink, but there's so much pink whenever I knit my summer projects. I've done so many pink projects, so I'm now beginning to doubt myself if I really do not like pink, or I've grown to love pink over the years and I wasn't aware of it. Okay, let me see. Okay, so those are all the projects that have already been launched, and now the one that's coming up, that's my only finished object today, because life's been hectic as far as my knitting is concerned. This is the Tatejo top. It's currently being tested, and it's the most difficult color to show off. I hope you'll be able to see it. So this is the tateho. It's worked from the bottom up because honestly it doesn't matter which way you work on it, you're just working a rectangle until you get to the top. So whether you start from the top or from the bottom, you're still doing the same thing. So it started from the bottom because I wanted this edging. When you're knitting lace, you'll notice that when you start working on it from the bottom, you get this scalloped edging at the bottom. And then I used this dotted pattern to give it some texture, and the front is rushed to give it a more feminine look. That's the look that I was really going for. That's why I had these ruffled little sleeves in lace and the rushed front to give it a really feminine finish. I've always wanted a top like that, but I don't know why it took me so long to actually get to the point of designing it. So I designed this using the Katia concept yarn, and this is the cotton yak, and the color is 108. So this pink is so difficult to photograph. I really don't know what my photographer is going to do when we're doing the final pictures, because I think I'll be launching it around the 25th or the 26th of this month. So I have to go for the photo shoot next week. I just want to finish a couple of things, then I'll book a shoot. So it's a very nice and soft yarn to work with. I've knit with this in the past, but it was, I think, before I started doing patterns, before I started publishing my own patterns. I don't remember, but I've worked with this yarn before, and it has always been really soft. I think I was knitting my daughter's sweaters back when she was still a baby. My oldest daughter, she's now almost 11, but I knit here something in this yarn, I think, because I've used it before, definitely. So as you can see, the top is also quite soft and really works well as a direct on the body kind of garment. And I like that the straps are stretchy but not too stretchy, so the yarn is quite stretchy. And when you're knitting this kind of top, I think this is the most challenging part, the straps. So you'll notice that depending on the yarn that you're using, the straps will be either very stretchy. I remember when I was doing the Zimkita top, the straps were quite stretchy because of the yarn that I was using. I was using Sweet Georgia Cash Silk yarn. The lace weight, I was holding it double, and it was very, very slippery and very stretchy. So my straps were ultimately shorter than this, I think, because they stretched quite a lot. So it's just doing the straps to the right side and the right placement for the straps. That's a bit of a challenge. Otherwise, the rest of it is quite a breeze. So what I recommend, and I think that's included in the pattern, is when you're trying on this top for your straps placement, to at least put on the kind of bra that you'll most likely wear with this top, and try to fit it and add on the straps with that in mind and seeing the most comfortable position. Once you do that, it's honestly all done. Then all you have to do is to pick up stitches and do a round of rapid increases and work on the sleeves. This is the same pattern that you use at the bottom here, so it's quite easy to navigate. So it's coming on the 25th, and I can't wait to wear this during our summer. As I mentioned, I need summer items in the winter, and I'll be impatiently waiting for summer. So that's the Tate Hot Top. It's currently being tested, and the test is about to come to an end. And what's the next thing? Okay, so that's all. That's the only finished object I have. I've got tons of works in progress. I'll start off with the dress. So this year I'm working on a dress. I've wanted to work on a dress for the longest time, but I never had it. Okay, I always put it off. It's not like I never had a chance. It wasn't really something that I prioritized. So I'm working on this dress using Pelso Hosian. So I don't know if I've mentioned on this video, but all of my Pelso Hoyan is sponsored I didn't pay for it myself. I was given the yarn to design whatever I can come up with. So this is the it's the cattail silk. It's 100% silk yarn. And unlike most silk yarns that you come across, this one has got these little stabs. Let me bring it closer in case you get to see that. And it's not shiny at all. So it's quite different from the silk yarn that I've worked with, and I really love the feel of it, and I'm enjoying working with it. So the color is Pearl Rose. I'm enjoying working on this project, and I love the fact that this yarn, it's a fingering weight yarn according to the information there, and the yardage is amazing. So it's 618 yards in 100 grams, so that's about 500 and something meters. I'm not sure of the exact number. With the dress that I'm working on so far, on skein number 5 and 6, so I'm knitting with the yarn held double on 4mm needles. So I've got these 2 skeins. It's a mess right now. I don't know how it got all tangled up and messy right here. So here is the dress. It's not gonna be so easy to show it because it's gotten so large. I'll just include some pictures. Okay, let's see. So this is the dress, and all of this is the dress. I'm almost done with the body. So it's worked from the top down as well, obviously, as you can see. And then it's an A-line dress. The increases start right from the underarm, and I'm increasing all the way to where I'm going to end. So with this dress, I'll probably knit up to it's going to be like mid-knee length, right at the middle of the knee. That's where I want to end it. It's also got these inseam pockets. I'm still not sure how I'm going to knit the pockets though. I've got to figure that out, because it's that weirdly shaped pocket that you find in dresses and in most pants. So it's going to be here. I've already left the section open, so as you can see, the hand fits in nicely. And I'm now doing the last part. So I've got quite a number of stitches. I've got more than 300 stitches, but it's not really too many stitches. That's the kind of number that you would have if you're knitting a fingering weight sweater. I'm knitting this to a DK weight. So I think this yarn is more of a light fingering more than a regular one, because when I am holding it double, I get a DK weight gauge, and I tried working this on 4.5mm needles, but the fabric was too flimsy, so I ended up knitting on 4, as you can see, and it's still see-through. I think there's no way you can just wear it on its own, because unlike wool, there's still a bit of some gaps on the silk fabric, because it doesn't kind of hold together and stick together like wool. You'll still need to wear a slip underneath. I think I'm going to get a natural colored one. I don't know what that color is, whether it's a light beige or a natural, but that's the one that I'm planning to get to wear with this dress. I'll have to take it with me when it's done and try it on at the shop. So I'll probably be buying it from Woolworths. So for those that are in South Africa, that's the one that I'm going to be using. As I mentioned, there's going to be 2 pockets on the sides. So my experience with knitting the dress, it took 2 tries to get it right. The first try was too open, and I had to change it because the fit at the top it's like no ease or very little ease if you really have to have some ease, because the dress flares out right from the underarm. So as it flares out, even if it's like the perfect fit at the bust, it's still going to flare out and fit you just fine on the rest of the body. So the most important thing is to get the fit right here at the top. The dress is fitting, it's got no ease, so it's very fitted at the top, and then it flares out all the way down. So my knitting experience with this, I first started it, and then it was too loose, and then I reworked it. And what I did was a folded neckline, and the armhole edges were also knit and stockinette stitch folded with some crochet edging on top. But because this is not wool, the edging ended up looking too bulky. So I had to unravel that and start afresh and do a different edging. So I did okay, let me bring it closer. It's a 1x1 twisted rib, and it works just fine like this compared to the one that I wanted to do. I think certain things do not work with certain types of yarns, and I've noticed that with summer yarns there are certain things that you just shouldn't do. For instance, a tubular cast on with some cotton yarn. I'm going to show what I mean when we get to that project. It worked pretty fast from here, and then at the center here I did this twisted rib stripe just to give it some interest, so that it's not just plain stockinette. And the other thing that I wanted to accomplish with this center striping with the twisted rib was to kind of divide the bust, and not have this fabric that just has your bust being this expensive, giving it this expensive look. I've noticed with some tops that are too plain that if your bust is much larger, then it just doesn't give it a break, and it looks even larger than it actually would if you had something of interest that was dividing the front. So that's why I added this to give it that extra interest that draws the eye, instead of just looking at the bust on its own. So this is the dress, and the striping of course is weird here at the center. As you know, this type of stitch, what's it called, the twisted rib, kind of leans on one side, so you'll see there's more space on this side than there is on this side. I think I was watching Handmade by Florence a few weeks ago, and she mentioned the same thing about a top that she was working on. So there really isn't much you can do about this, but it doesn't really look glaringly so bad that you would want to skip it. It really helps to create that interest in the garment. So I would keep it, particularly if you don't want the focus to just be on the bust. And what else do I need to talk about as far as this dress is concerned? Oh, one more thing. So it really worked super fast from this point. I thought it was going to take ages because it's a dress. But when I started here, of course, this part was much quicker because most of it is just these thinner straps, and then you do the neck shaping. By the time you join, from the point where you join the front panels, the left and the right, there isn't really much knitting before you get to the armhole shaping, and it's the same with the back, so it's done exactly the same. And then from here, knitting all the way here is almost like, when you're knitting your regular garment and your regular pullover, and then when you get to this section with the pockets, the interesting part is that it doesn't take so much time because you separate the back and the front and you work them separately to create the opening for the pocket. And this worked really fast because suddenly you are working on fewer stitches and it takes very little time to work. I think for one of the sections I did it in a day, and the other one took a bit longer because I was doing other things. But when I was working on one section, I just decided to just sit on it and work on it for a day, and it was done. So now I'm here, and this is taking a bit more time than the upper part, of course, because there are more stitches. But like I mentioned earlier, it's just about maybe 350 stitches right now. And that's the number of stitches that you would need for an oversized pullover in fingering weight. So it's not really a lot. I'm working on 4mm needles, and the yarn is really great. And I think I won't need more than these 6 skeins for this dress. So it does go a long way. I'll probably need just those 6. I had 10 initially. So the remaining 4 stitches are going to be used for a project that I'm also excited about, and I'll be casting it on as soon as I'm done with the other summer items that I'm doing for this year. So this is how much yarn I have left. I don't know how much of it I'll use because I need about 6 or 7 inches before I get to the length that I want. And one more thing that I want to do on this dress is to make the back slightly longer. And I noticed that with these flat garments, when you just do them straight, sometimes the back kind of rides up, particularly if you've got wider hips, it kind of gets carried up. So I want to add a little bit of some short rows, maybe 2 inches. It's going to be 2 inches longer at the back than it is at the front. So those are totally optional. You don't have to add them when you're working on the dress, but I think they'll make it look even much prettier. So I'm looking forward to this one, and I'm looking forward to all the different styling options that I'm going to try with it, because whilst I was working on it, I've been thinking about how I'm going to style it, and I've realized that, you know, this dress isn't meant for just the summer. You can style it with a trench coat or with something else atop, a denim jacket or something that will just make it spring appropriate or even early fall appropriate. So it can be worn, I think, on 3 seasons. Particularly here in South Africa, I can definitely wear it on 3 seasons. It's just not appropriate for the winter, I suppose, but for most seasons it will work just fine. I've spoken about this dress for so long. So the next project, let's talk about something small and quick. A little pair of socks. So like I said, I do love a heel flip and gusset. I'm working on a pattern using just that. So it's worked from the cuff down, and it's got this lace pattern. It's a Japanese cable and lace pattern, and this dotted pattern again. Like I said, I'm really loving this dotted pattern. You're probably going to see it on 2 more items before the year is out. This is how it looks. So this is for the left foot, because this panel is meant to be at the outer edge of the foot. So this is the left sock. This one is going to be, I'm starting the test now. I opened a call for testers yesterday, and I'll be sending out the pattern to the testers tomorrow. So I still don't have an official name, so even the testers are going to be testing using an unofficial name. So the yarn that I'm using is Nurturing Fibers Super Twist Sock, and the color is Sunlit Kelp. So that's what I call the socks. Currently they are being called the Sunlit Kelp socks, but that may not be the name, because I don't like naming patterns after colors, because someone is going to knit it in pink and call it the Sunlit Kelp socks, and I might knit this pair again in another color and call it the Sunlit Kelp. It's going to be ridiculous, I think. So I'll probably come up with a name before it launches. So the test is going to be a very quick one. It's going to run for about 2 weeks, and they're also launching before the end of the month. I'm working on the second one, and as you've seen, the dress that I'm working on is stockinette. So this is a good change of pace for me when I have to do the cables and the texture. So as you can see here, this is how the socks look. This is the right one, so it's going to be on the outer right edge. Okay, let me hold them together so that it makes a lot more sense. So this is how it looks. This is still a bit scrunched up, but it's gonna look good as well soon. So yeah, the Sunlit Kelp socks. So this is the other project that I need to finish soon, because it's launching very soon. And then the next one that I have on my needles is the Orange Groove top. For the first time in my life, I'm designing a colorwork summer top using cotton yarn. I just figured what's the worst that could happen, and I just did it. So of course you can use a merino cotton blend or any other blend that works for you if you're not comfortable with just using some pure cotton for colorwork. But just check out, it hasn't been blocked yet, but I think it looks quite good. I tried it on and it fits, and I just did some minimal colorwork. I just wanted something that would look very playful and fun. As you can see, it's different colors. So this is knit in Nurturing Fibers Eco Cotton, and the main color is vanilla. And then this color here at the top is patina, this pink is blush, then there's charcoal and Sahara. So those are the colors that I'm using. So they repeat again, that's patina, Sahara and charcoal there at the bottom. So that's the color work that I'm doing. I would have really gone very far with this top or even finished it, but I ran out of yarn and I ordered some balls of yarn over the weekend. I got it this morning and I'm continuing just now. So I just joined this ball of yarn just before I started recording, so it's right here. So I just did maybe 2-3 rounds before I had to put it down and set up to record. So I love this type of yarn. I've used Nurturing Fibers I think on more than 10, close to 15 projects. This eco cotton yarn, it works so well and it looks good even after a long time. So this is the, what's the name of this top? I've forgotten it. Oh, it's the Nandi top. I knit this and I published it last year for last summer, and I've worn it so many times and it's been washed so many times and it still looks good. I love that it doesn't peel and it doesn't look aged. I've got quite a number of those tops in different colors and they all still look good. So I really love the look of it. That's why I wanted to do something again this summer. But my biggest regret really is that I didn't do a lot of white tops. I noticed when winter started that I really need a bit more white in my wardrobe in terms of pullovers or cardigans. And these summer tops, this is the only white summer top that I've got. And even though this one is white, it's got some color, so it's going to be limiting quite a bit to wear it. I'm just realizing that I need to add more white items. So when you see my fall winter collection, there's going to be a bit of some white there because I realized that I need it. And I think it helps when you do have such very neutral colors because you don't have to think much when you're getting dressed. There are certain things that just won't work with a lot of colors, and it helps to just have that white garment and you're just ready to go. So that's what I'm going to be doing probably for the next for the fall winter items, and for the summer items that I'll be doing next year. I'll try to incorporate more white. Okay, not necessarily do everything in white, that'll be boring, but I'll just make sure that I do have some white in my collection. The next top that I'm working on doesn't have a name yet, but it is almost done. I think I've got about 3 or 4 inches left. So this is also worked from the top down. One thing I forgot to mention here is that as you can see with this top and this new one as well, I learned it the hard way when I tried to do a tubular cast on last year. When I was doing this top, it didn't work. To put it simply, it looked ugly because the type of material, this cotton yarn, somehow it looks bulky and it doesn't look good at all. So I had to do the German twisted cast on, and it looks really good and it hasn't widened or it doesn't look bad or look edged or anything or stretched. It still looks fine even after so many wears. So now I don't even bother with the tubular cast on or bind off with this cotton yarn. I just do a regular cast on or bind off, and it works and it doesn't get floppy over time. It looks perfectly fine. So I just remembered because I noticed that here with this yarn, this is the super twist sock and the color is driftwood. So I did a tubular cast on because it works on the yarn and it doesn't look bulky. It just looks nice and neatly finished. So the yoke is stockinette at first, and then you'll see a bit of some lace section there. I can't wait to block it and have it really laying flat and popped out. Okay, not popped out, I don't know what I'm saying there, but anyway, I can't wait for it to be blocked and really stretch out, not popped out. So this is how this looks, and it's stockinette all over. So I did the same thing I did with the Zukanya dress here. it's this A-line shape. So with summer tops, I've noticed that I gravitate towards the more relaxed look. So that's what I was going for here as well. It's got a bit of some lace, and it's going to be fitted at the top and not too loose. So with this one, I think you can even have 2 inches or 4 inches of positive ease, depending on what you prefer. And it's still got this loose finish at the bottom. So I've really done quite a lot of stockinette knitting, and I'm getting towards the end, and it's going to probably have a folded hem because I want it to be very minimalistic in its look. And I think this is going to be to really get a lot of work, because I can see with this color it's a grayish brown. You know, when you're looking at it, it looks brown and then it looks gray, so it's somewhere in between. The color is driftwood. And what I like about it is that I've noticed that whenever I'm trying it on, it works even with linen pants, it works with jeans, and it works even with regular black pants. So it's going to be really a nice addition to the wardrobe. I haven't taken too many photos of this because it's so difficult to photograph. Right now I had to put it on 2 needles just to get to show it properly and its shaping there. Okay, and then the next thing that I want to talk about is 3 future projects. So this year I've got these summer projects, and I'll just knit 3 more quick summer tops, and that's it for the summer. So my goal was to work on summer projects until the end of June. Beginning of July, I want to start working on the fall items, because somehow I get carried away with the summer items and I keep knitting until August. And then when it comes to September, I've got nothing to show for what I've been doing, and I don't have anything to launch for the fall. So I'm trying to change that this year. So I'll be working on 3 tops. There's one that's going to be in this Nurturing Fibers Eco Cotton yarn in the color fawn. I've had this yarn for 2 years, and every year I show it for a project that I never get to work. But this year I'll be casting it on probably as soon as I'm done with these tops, and probably I'll still be working on the dress, maybe doing the pockets. And this is the yarn that I'll be using. It's going to be another circular yoke top, but this time around this one is going to have some lace, some all over lace on it. It's going to be quite an interesting one because I've never done something like that before. And then the second one is in the Sian Katia concept, and this is the cotton cashmere. The color is 55. It's a medium beige color. I'll be doing a sleeveless top, and it's probably going to have some lace and this stitch pattern here, the dotted stitch, because I'm done with stockinette. If you've noticed, all the tops that I'm working on right now are stockinette except for the socks. So I'm not doing stockinette anytime soon. I'm done. And then the last one that I'll be doing is a sleeveless top with a boat neck, and I'll be using this yarn. So this looks horrible and almost torn in some places because I've had this yarn since 2018. I couldn't figure out what to design with it, but now I finally have, and the color is 7298. This is African Expression Soul. So it's an interesting blend of yarn. I love the sheen that it has, and the stitch pattern that I want to do, you'll see when I'm showing it on the next podcast, that it really works with this particular yarn and the sheen that it's got. So it's one project that I'm really excited about, because I was thinking of kind of skipping on the summer items and going straight to the fall stuff, but I just wanted to do this because I've noticed that whenever I don't do something during that time when I'm inspired and motivated to do it, next year I'll be thinking of something else, and that idea just goes down the drain. So I want to do this this year and knit it. So this yarn is 15% kid mohair, 15% mulberry silk, 50% merino wool, and 20% polyamide. It's a light fingering weight yarn, and it really looks good. It's got some really good sheen. I've done a number of summer tops in it, and I've worn them in the summer with no problems. I did the Leslie T, and I've done the Tin Swallow top, and I've worn those tops at any point in the summer, and I never feel too hot. So I'm looking forward to working with these. And then I don't have any yarn purchases. I'm trying not to buy yarn until I'm closer to the fall stuff that I'll be working on. So I already have some unfinished projects that I initially wanted to launch for the spring, but because of the Brooklyn Tweed projects, it took quite a while, particularly for the top. I worked it maybe to some point under the armholes when I noticed that I had to unravel everything, start afresh. So it took a while. And then with the Leruo cardigan as well, the button band took quite a while for me to knit. So I ended up really not working at the right pace for some of the projects, and I had to put them aside and put them for the fall instead of the early spring. So it's the top that I'm knitting with the Mayak baby yak lace yarn. It's a button down shirt. And then there's a wrap cardigan that I started in January. It's in fisherman rib. It's half fisherman rib, I think. So I also need to finish that one. It's going to launch in the fall. And there's a bottom-up vest that's all over cables. That's another one that I have to finish, and it's launching in the fall as well. And then there's the Lisebo pullover. It's a striped one with big bands of stripe. I was already working on the first sleeve, and that's the fourth one. So I have to finish those 4 projects first, and that's going to be what I'll be working on in July. And then from then onwards, then I'll be working on some new projects from August. But I just wanted to make sure that all my yarn purchases happen very close to the knitting of the actual garments, so I can gauge how much time I've got to actually work on those projects instead of buying yarn and then going for years. As you can see, my yarn is super old. I have yarn that's been sitting around for years. So I'm trying to make sure that I buy yarn when I'm still excited about the project, because if I buy it now and I don't knit it now, next year that idea kind of seems crazy or weird or whatever. I'll be interested in something else. And I normally notice that when I'm interested in something else, I want a different yarn or color or whatever. So I'm trying by all means to make sure that I only buy the yarn when I'm close to knitting with it, so I can actually work on something that I'm excited about at the time. The last thing I want to show is something that came through the mail. It's a project that launched in 2022 for Nomadic Knits. So I had a pattern that I did for this. It's called Silver State for this book here. And I got it in the mail recently. Let me see if I can find it in the book. So this is it. So this launched in 2022 and I had done it in 2021. Here it is. It's also worked from the top down. It's striped. I'll most probably be launching it maybe in August as an independent pattern, because right now it's only available in the book. And it's a drop shoulder with skinny sleeves, just to give it that relaxed summer look. I know skinny sleeves are not for everyone, so in the pattern there's an option to make this section much longer. This is for the size small, by the way. It doesn't even fit on me, so that's why you have these really tiny sleeves, but it fits well on the model because it's her size. So the sleeves are not as skinny as they look when you're just looking at the garment. For each size there is quite some ease that you can work with. So this is for the smallest size, and that's the sleeve, so it fits just fine on someone who wears a small. But I'll also include instructions to make it larger, just in case there is someone who prefers their sleeves to be much wider. So this is a relaxed pullover that would really work well. Okay, this end has come off. I have to fix that. That would really fit very well for the early fall wardrobe, or even spring. This would work just fine. So I'll be launching it as an independent pattern in August, late August most probably. So yeah, that's all that I have to show. So I'll probably be recording another video hopefully soon to show the progress on this. Like I mentioned, I'm really struggling with my projects. Mostly I really love knitting, I enjoy it, but my projects are driving me crazy. They're all stockinette. As you can see, I'm in the stockinette section, 4 inches to go. This is stockinette, and the dress is stockinette. I can't believe I planned it like this, because all the new projects that I'm going to be knitting are not stockinette. I could have mixed it up and done one of these, maybe one of these instead of the other. I don't know what I could have done really, but I shouldn't have done tons of stockinette at the same time. So I can't wait to be finished. But if I finish the socks and maybe these 2 tops, I'll probably cast on one of the other patterns and still continue with the dress. So the dress will probably launch in August, and it's going to be a very quick test that we'll do. And I don't know whether you've seen my test calls or you've taken part in any of my tests, but what I normally do is not set a tight deadline for the larger sizes. So the larger sizes still have the same deadline as everybody else, but for them it's mainly to give feedback with what they have seen in the pattern and what they have done. And with the smaller sizes, the deadline is to finish the project. And usually when I'm talking larger sizes, I'm talking something like from 52 or 54 inches and higher. Usually the 40 something inches are okay, they can be done within that period. So this dress is almost like knitting a sweater and a vest. I think that's what you can say it takes to work on this dress. And I'll see how I'll do the timing, because I'm planning to really work fast on this and put out the test call next week. So that would be like 2 months of testing, or maybe slightly longer. I'll see how I can put the test call. So that's all that I had to share for today, and that's all the stockinette stitch that I'll be knitting until the next video. So I'm looking forward to sharing these new projects that I'll be starting on. I'll probably have them all on my needles by the time I do the next episode. So thank you so much for joining me, and don't forget to check the links below if you want to find out more about the yarns or the patterns that I was showing on today's episode. Thank you so much for watching. Bye bye.